Did you know that the first instance of explosive jumping was actually an exploit? Yep, this masterpiece of a movement mechanic was discovered by the players as a means to bypass obstacles and build crazy momentum. And while I wasn't around for that, ever since I was a kid, the idea of using a device to propel oneself higher and faster than normal was always exciting to me. Whether that's from using pogo sticks in primary school, the speed and jump cores of Roblox Survive the Disasters, or gone roller skating every Friday for 5 years. One or all of those things are likely the cause of my lifelong displacement dependence. Well, that or getting into TF2 8 years ago. Man, that makes me feel old. But what exactly is it that makes explosive jumping so addictive? So satisfying? Well, as a man of science, I figured it's my duty to answer this question. After many hours of grueling research, scouring the web for answers, I finally figured it out and broken it down to 4 separate requirements. The first and I'd say most important one is if you don't let me fly at ridiculous, unbalanced speeds in your game, then I am not interested. When talking about velocity, you probably wouldn't think Valorant would be my first choice, but this CSGO-like has some surprisingly fast-paced characters for being a slow tactical shooter. Which leads us to Raze, our star pupil. In terms of other agents, she's the one who can cover the most amount of ground in the shortest amount of time. This is all thanks to the incredible gameplay design behind her blast packs. How they work is pretty simple. She can buy a maximum of 2 satchels which can be used to propel herself a fair distance in... Hey, wake up! Don't go snoozing on me. I can't blame you. Here, it's more interesting if I show you anyway. This is why velocity is so satisfying. Not say you should do this every round, but I mean, how can you not? Riot has clearly put a lot of thought into how her satchels feel to use. But it's not just the speed that makes it satisfying though. No, learning how they work and how to use them can be just as rewarding. Let's use TF2 as an example. Now I've played a lot of Soldier, nearly 900 hours in fact. And during this time, I've learned a lot about how to rocket jump. I've got to say it's incredibly satisfying to learn, and even more, gratifying to put into use. Seeing yourself progress from a beginner jumper that can hardly do a wall jump to being able to soar past the entire enemy team in just a few rockets is something to truly appreciate. And there's so much to learn! There's pogo, there's sinking, there's speed shots, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. And while some of these lower ones aren't really practical in regular games, I'd be lying if I said I hadn't taken hundreds of hours into trying to get better at them. And while my days of playing TF2 religiously are over, I'll still hop on every now and then and just try to actually complete a quadruple sync. Seriously, what the fuck is this? How is it practical at all? Where's the satisfaction start? Isn't this supposed to be satisfying? Look, learning something new is always challenging, but it's the difficulty of that challenge that makes it so rewarding. The satisfaction gained is always worth it. Oh my god, that took nowhere near as long as I thought, holy fuck. Now, work with me here for a second. Close your eyes and think about a world where there is no satisfaction. No challenge, you just press a button and it does all the hard work for you. Well, you don't need to imagine it because it's real, baby, and it's called Overwatch. Yep, welcome to the part of the video where I dunk on this game. It wouldn't be a cream video without it. Now, while Farah's jump jets aren't exactly an explosive jump, I still wanted to mention it because it's a classic example of oversimplification. All these inputs are dumbed down into a single key. Not to say they should have made it exactly like Soldiers, they should have, it's far superior. But taking that control away from the player can remove a lot of the satisfaction. Speaking of control, that is our next requirement. The existence of control can be the difference between a satisfying explosive jump and whatever the hell this is. Now I had to mention this game, but unfortunately I couldn't find any positive qualities as far as exploit jumping goes. It lacks velocity, it has no learning curve, and gives the player hardly any control over the height and trajectory they fly at. I mean, just look at this. Poor Farah is stuck on a singular axis and has no choice but to use the full power of her jump jets. And Junkrat's mines don't make much sense either. The angle is limited to about 100 degrees, meaning that your best option just ends up being to detonate them directly underneath you. Now, that might not seem so bad, right? But contrast this with Raze and Demo from Team Fortress 2. Both their explosives act exactly as you would expect them to. Placing a mine behind you will always propel you horizontally, and above you will always launch you down. I mean, it makes sense, right? Let's see how Overwatch handles this. Yeah. But this isn't all Junkrat's fault. It mostly comes down to the physics engine. Game engine? I think game engine. Someone smarter than me can correct me in the comments, but Overwatch has a much higher deceleration rate than other games like TF2 and Valorant, which removes the prospect of velocity and consequently takes away the number of skillful maneuvers you can learn and execute. What you're left with is a clunky, one-dimensional movement mechanic that lacks any sort of satisfaction. And that's not good enough. And I'm not one to back down from a challenge. Here's a few things I would propose. For Junkrat, open the angle more so he can move horizontally more efficiently, and increase the momentum gained and retained from consecutive mines. For Farah, give her more control over the angle and propulsion of her jump jets. I want to be able to jump jet horizontally too. This would make her a much more versatile hero as well. These are balanced ideas, and I expect a check in the mail, Blizzard, thank you very much, but if not, then why don't you tell me what you do if you're so smart, huh? Now, onto our fourth and final requirement. Let me quickly demonstrate the importance of the two. Here's the intro again without any effects. Did you know that the first instance of explosive jumping was actually an exploit? Yep, this masterpiece of a movement mechanic was discovered by the players. Pretty boring, right? But if we slowly add in different effects to make movements more pronounced and exaggerated, it becomes far more interesting. Same can be said about explosive jumps. Now for this segment, I'm going to be giving each game a rating out of 10, based on how well they perform in the looks and sounds department. Before we get into it, we need to quickly define SFX and VFX. SFX, or sound effects, is pretty self-explanatory. It's what you hear. So the sounds of the explosions, the detonator, ticking of the mines, wind, landing, you get it. But with visual effects, I kind of stretched the definition a little bit. I'm still including things like explosions and trails, but I also wanted to include the first-person animations as well. With that out of the way, let's start with the OG, the godfather of the rocket jump. Quake. Champions. Yeah, I don't play this game much, but I gotta say, first impressions are pretty good. It sounds beefy, the animation feels weighty. There's not really much of an explosion, but everything feels proportionate, so that's not really a big deal. 7 out of 10. Next up is Raze and a set of satchels. I like her satchels. A lot. The explosion sound is impactful while still matching the scale, and the burst of paint bleeds onto the edges of your screen as they go off, making it feel like you're flying at 100 k's an hour. Not to mention how smooth it all is. The throw animation matches perfectly with her movement, and the beeping countdown is almost begging you to go for the jump. Overall, her satchels match her character flawlessly and really make an impact. 10 out of 10. As for Soldier and his rocket launcher, well, I'm kind of biased towards this guy, but I'll try my best to be impartial. And the first things I think of when judging the rocket launcher are its distinct sounds and hefty animation. I've always loved the way it returns to its original position and then kicks back up for a follow-up rocket. It's something that you can't find in any of these other games due to ammo limitations. As far as the explosion VFX go, it could use a bit more flair, but hey, I can't really talk. I sort of mod to reduce them because I'm a nerd that likes seeing his targets. So the rating? I mean, it'd be a crime to rate this any lower than 8 out of 10. It's just a classic. Now, onto the demo man. Hey, keep it down, I'm trying to do a voice over here, man. Now onto the demo man, and since he's from the same universe as Soldier, they use the same design philosophy behind his sticky bomb launcher. The animation feels weighty, and the sound design is incredible. I love the foof as the sticky leaves the barrel, and the alternate impact sounds depending on the surface add so much to the feel. As for the detonation sound, it's a little bit underwhelming, which is why I'm giving Demo a 7 out of 10. Onto Overwatch, we have Junkrat, who honestly surprised me. I mean, almost everything has a sound. The throw, the impact, the detonator, the bomb itself, his excited cheer as he flies, him landing, everything. And it's all so good. The animators did a great job as well. He throws the mine with intention and clicks the detonator eagerly. It's just a shame it's so let down by the actual mechanics, but we are only rating it on VFX and SFX alone, so I'm gonna have to give it a 9 out of 10. Next is Farah. 2 out of 10. And we are done. Sorry if I missed your favorite game, but if I were to sit here and rate every single Quake-like and class-based shooter copying TF2, then I'd be here all day. But if you really want me to give your game a rating, then you can go ahead and drop it in the comments and I might make a second video including it. So, what can we take from these verdicts? Well, good SFX and VFX can't carry explosive jumps, but without it they feel unsatisfying, so you need to find the right balance. Games that match the sounds and VFX to the character's overall design make for a far more immersive experience as well. So now we have our 4 requirements: velocity, learning, control, SFX, and VFX. The perfect balance. If you're missing even one of these components, then it can have a severe cost on the overall feel of your explosive jump. Velocity is nothing without the control that allows it, and the ability to learn depends on how high you build your skill ceilings. Effects are equally important as well, because even if you have everything else, your jump will feel shallow and boring without it. It's a very delicate ecosystem. But with all that being said, there's one final thing I want to talk about. And that's you, dear viewer. Yep, that's right, you. All of us here at the office just want to praise you for your great attention span. Making it all the way through this video must have been tough, but I mean, you clearly enjoyed it though. So be sure to tell me all about what you liked, how I could improve, writing advice, relationship advice, personal struggles, other video ideas, anything. I'm here to learn. For real though, guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. This was really fun to make, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Bye!